So last night we were going through the whole Tiffany Henyard rabbit hole, and I mean, there's so much coverage on this shit. It's crazy. But mainly, the main thing that we saw was that Tiffany Henyard was paying her makeup stylist $1,500 twice a month. So you do the math. One client, what are you getting, $3K a month? Insanity, bro. What is going on? All recorded. Now, there's a lot of theories going around that she was actually paying $150 and keeping the rest of the money to herself, and then just putting her stylist as like this entity in the government that wasn't actually doing anything. It was just herself. She was like, you know what I'm saying? Paying herself with tax money. But anyway, let's go ahead and check this thing out. We covered it on stream the other night, and shit, people, just, it's a roller coaster. Put in the comments what you guys think. Tell me your opinions. We're going to continue with some more of this stuff tomorrow. But for now, I just want to leave this with y'all. Let's get to it. I heard about this, and then I saw a video pop up, and I was like, oh, this must be the video everybody's talking about. So let's go ahead and see what's going on with this shit. This shit is insane. I don't understand how this lady thinks, like, I don't know. She just really feels like she's all that shit. It's for real. God, He are with us when we go get water.
A disorder in the village of Dalton that we've been covering for months is now impacting other suburbs where Mayor Tiffany Henyard also has a leadership role. Henyard is also the supervisor of Thornton Township, which includes a total of 17 towns.
Elected officials are speaking out.
And what I tell you, nobody really gave a until it started affecting the moolah. Once people started realizing the budget wasn't budgeting, you know how she likes to say the math ain't mathin'. Once they started to realize that budget wasn't budgeting, people started to realize.
Elected officials are speaking out about budgets, federal probes, and financial records. Regina Waldrop is in Markham with more on that story.
You guys have been led astray. You have been bamboozled. You have been hooded.
Dalton, not the only community concerned about self-titled super mayor Tiffany Henyard.
If she speaks out loud one more time, you remove her.
The mayor of Markham questioning her decisions and her leadership. Henyard has dual roles, mayor and Thornton Township supervisor.
I'm standing with the full force of this government here, and I don't see that happening in Thornton Township. I don't see it happening in Dalton either.
17 communities make up Thornton Township.
I don't see it happening.
Look at that. Isn't that his board of trustees? Mayor of Markham. Look at them. Do they look like they're in disarray? Does it look like a shit show? Does it look like that? Man, listen, this shit is sad. Making us look bad, bro. Like, look at this. Hands crossed. Yeah, my people. Fuck yeah. You go over and look at that at City of Dalton. Listen, man, faces all cranked up to the side, people mumbling shit to each other, arguments in front of the community. That shit is embarrassing, bro.
In Dalton either.
17 communities make up Thornton Township, representing more than 158,000 people. And this township, also a taxing body. Right now, the township is without a budget. It was to be approved May 31st, but was tabled.
That budget needs to be looked into much deeper.
Aldermen say they are being inundated with calls from taxpayers.
I hear it every day. There is no transparency within our township.
Henyard is at the center of a wide-ranging federal investigation and a number of lawsuits.
Look at that man, Keith Price himself. Look at the tub of lard.
There is no transparency within our township.
Yeah.
Henyard is at the center of a wide-ranging federal investigation.
Look at her supporters, man, and shout out all my fat people too. You're doing what you can. I feel that, but him, let's just go on a limb real quick. He's not doing what he can. He not doing what he can. He just don't give a fuck. I kind of despise these people, bro. Not gonna lie. We did a video with Keith Price the other day. Just a ignorant motherfucker. What's up, Brianna?
Investigation and a number of lawsuits.
You know, at some point, there needs to be some oversight, and someone has to get to the bottom of what and why these things are happening.
Questions are also being raised about Henyard using taxpayer dollars for personal expenses, including her makeup artist. This itemized payroll sheet for the township from May of last year lists Brandon Moman as an administrative assistant. But when we reached out to him, he told us he's Henyard's makeup artist. Chris Gonzalez is a Thornton Township trustee.
Once again, a long
Makeup woman as an administrative.
Wait, 4/6, 4/21, 5/05, 5/19, 6/02, 6. Nah. So he's So he's like making $3K a month just off of Henyard? Damn. And look what she puts him as. Him, her, Brandon Moman. Sounds like a dude. Admin assistant. You know that's some foul shit right there. Admin assistant, a makeup artist? Really? Making $3K a month, taxpayer dollars. And you know he has different clients. And I honestly, shout out Brandon Moman. Fucking shout him out. Because he not the one paying himself. She paying him. If I was getting paid for a job, I wouldn't really ask too many questions where my pay was coming from. As long as I get paid and I can declare it and I get my money, I'm good. So shout him out. Big shout out to him. But damn, Tiff. But see, the politics, you want to listen to them and you're not going to research the facts. See, I encourage everyone to research the facts for themselves. Okay?
Administrative assistant. But when we reached out to him, he told us he's Henyard's makeup artist. Chris Gonzalez is a Thornton Township.
And him snitching her out like that is crazy. After they reached out to him and he just folded. He was just like, yep, I'm her makeup artist. Fuck it. Folded like a lawn chair. He didn't wait. Yup, I'm her makeup artist. I don't know what y'all talking about, but that shit crazy. Hey, Patricia, thank you for the 2, man. Shout you out. Keep up the good work. I will. Listen to me. You best believe I will. I can't even sleep sometimes. I can't even sleep at night sometimes. I be worried about the next video. Shit.
Trustee. Just once again, a long series, unfortunately, of things that just seem to be.
Chrome Dome said, no, she's making everything but $150 she pays him. $150 she collects the rest. I mean, that's genius. No shit, she's collecting the rest. And what type of a makeup session costs $1,500? No fucking shit. Shout you out. Shout you out, Chrome Dome. Now I don't know if this is fact, but let's just so that we're not putting out false narratives on people for the optics. We don't need no false narratives. We're gonna say allegedly. We're assuming that she's paying them $150. $150 sounds a lot more like a job. Like a makeup job. $150 is pretty good per client. $150. That's like what, $500 in a day? You have 3 clients or some shit. Don't math my math because I'm not trying to check myself. But $150 is not bad. $1,500 is outrageous.
No, but possibly illegally.
We reached out to Henyard's administration for comment, but didn't hear back. Today, Governor Pritzker shared his thoughts on Tiffany Henyard and whether the state should step in.
There is an investigation that's been called for, and now I know there was a veto that was overridden that will now allow that investigation to go forward.
Reporting from Markham, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Thanks to Regina. She's worked hard on that story.
Continue watching for Governor's full comment on Dalton. I mean, why not?
Governor, are you monitoring what's going on in Dalton and Thornton Township and leadership there? Are you concerned? Taxpayers seem very worried. There's chaos at meetings. What can be done? Could you play a role in stepping in some way? What's your take on the situation?
So I've looked at that question, whether the state should and can play a role. The federal authorities, as you may know, are involved and investigating. I've read that. I think that's a public piece of information. There is an investigation that's been called for, and now I know there was a veto that was overridden that will now allow that investigation to go forward with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot in charge of that. I think that those are 2 pretty good authorities for looking into this, investigating it, and getting to the truth.
I didn't know Lightfoot personally had a hand in it. I thought Lightfoot was on the side. I read in the comments somewhere that Lightfoot wasn't actually pushing this investigation. Now she is? Ooh.
Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
What was this, June 5th, 6, 7, 8? This was three days ago, no?
In charge of that. I think that those are two pretty good authorities for looking into this, investigating it, and getting to the truth.
And the state, when you look into it?
We'll support them. Well, we looked at whether we ought to put resources, whether it's state police and their anti-corruption efforts, or asking the Attorney General. The reality is that there are already two pretty significant investigations going on, and so we'll support them in every way that we can. But it's really just a matter of, do you want everybody running over each other in those investigations, or do you want two concerted efforts toward getting the facts?
Previous coverage. Why do they have these segues?
And chaos, confusion, and police rushing in to remove people from a suburban Dalton building.
This all happened last night after a majority of trustees voted for Chicago's former mayor, Lori Lightfoot, to continue her investigation of Dalton's current mayor, Tiffany Henyard. NBC5's Regina Waldrop has more on what happens next.
I like Old Timer. Look at him. He said, "Let's go outside, bitch. Let's go. Bring your fat ass outside." Look at him.
Regina Waldrop has more on
he's like,
what
"Bring your
happens
fat
next."
ass outside. Come on outside. Me and you. Did you see that shit? Hey, don't put it past Old Timer right there. He said, "Me and you."
More on
He's
what
dead
happens
ass. He's
next.
dead ass.
Dalton's
Me and you.
Village
Come
Hall.
on. Outside. Let's go. You know Keith Lee was, man, listen, he was over there kind of nervous. He was like, shit, old school might fuck me up. Old school shit. Man, listen, Keith, that big man, he's big. You take 2-3 swings, he's done for. That's how he's going to be breathing after 3-4 swings. Old Timer just got bob and weave a couple of times, and it's over with. He's fucked.
Nobody's gonna be hurt if you keep talking.
A hotbed of activity Monday night with a village board meeting that went off course. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was there.
Okay, nobody gonna speak. We gonna clear the room in a minute.
Briefly addressing residents before her mic was shut off.
Even though they turned the mics off, we will continue working on behalf of the residents of Dalton, and we will give you the facts that you deserve.
Why would we pay anybody any money if y'all have the actual people, meaning the FBI's here? So why would we waste money?
Before the meeting was stopped, a majority of trustees voted to override a recent veto by the mayor, allowing Lightfoot to continue her investigation into Tiffany Henyard, who's accused of misspending and also at the center of a number of lawsuits and a wide-ranging federal probe. Lightfoot in a statement writing, "I look forward."
She's like somebody's bad daughter who got into the wrong position. Now she's just running amok, as she would like to say. She watching too much Hocus Pocus. That's what's up with her. She said amok because just the night before she was watching Hocus Pocus. I swear to God, true story. True story. Yeah. And she was like, hey, amok sounds like a good word to say. Fun fact, nobody fucking says that. Unless we're being sarcastic. But anyways, come on.
To the work ahead and urge Mayor Henyard and her administration to fully cooperate with this investigation by promptly providing the requested documentation to give all concerned a complete and accurate accounting of the fiscal conditions for the village. During public comment, residents had a lot to say about the village's finances, investigations, and the fact that barricades were put up around Village Hall before the meeting.
I think it's so horrible that this mayor will use her police department to block all the parking spaces so the elderly and the handicapped people have to walk a block to get to this meeting.
Also happening at that meeting, Mayor Henyard struck down the recent appointment of trustee Jason House as mayor pro tem. The next Dalton Village Board meeting is set for June 17th. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, you were on the story. We appreciate it. It's Friday night. Welcome. Good evening. I'm Stephen Holt.
And I'm Allison Rosati. We begin with something unexpected. A rescheduled budget hearing brings lots of fireworks.
Man, I can't wait until June 17th, man. It's going to be so good. And we're going to do coverage all the way leading up to it because fuck it. There's so much coverage on it. there's so much information on it. Now I know her right-hand man. What's his name? Anyways, let's continue.
In South Suburban Thornton Township, where a new budget was approved just a short time ago. Now, residents had lots of questions about spending and the township supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, who's also the mayor of Dalton. Our Regina Waldrop's been on this story from the very beginning. She joins us now live with the latest. Regina.
Allison, I have covered a lot of budget meetings, and this one that just wrapped up a short time ago, anything but boring. There was clapping, shouting, screaming, and then there were police. They were on the ready to escort people out of the meeting.
Read for yourself. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Now you gotta go.
This budget meeting, anything but typical.
You have been led astray. You have been bamboozled. You have been hooded.
We need to watch the May 31st budget meeting. Yep.
Thornton Township residents from several South Suburban communities filled the room, and they had lots to say.
Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to be homeless behind her raising our taxes. And you said that you have good business skills, then you should take a look at the budget again.
You are a public servant. You serve us.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard is also the mayor of Dalton. She is the focus of a wide-ranging FBI investigation. She's also being sued by several Dalton employees, current and former. Residents say there are concerning issues with the township's spending and other areas of township government.
There are so many red flags.
People are just so tired of this whole situation with the not being transparent. And for Dalton, I can speak for Dalton, we don't know what's going on with our money at all.
Henyard makes $224,000 a year in her township supervisor job. In December, the Board of Trustees passed an ordinance that some called outlandish. It states that if Henyard runs for re-election in 2025 and loses, her successor's salary would drop to only $25,000 a year. But a bill passed in Springfield this week would undo that ordinance and make
How
sure.
are you going to pay somebody minimum wage for a high government job? That is insane. But then again, I think about it, it's like, damn, she's making good money. I didn't know that, like, I guess you're the mayor and you're the supervisor, so I guess they have to pay you well. But damn, that's a lot of money to be the mayor. $250, bro. That's crazy. How can you be a piece of shit when you're already making that much money? Like, how can you use the budget when you're making that much money? I wouldn't even know what to do with that much money. Like, I'm gonna buy me a nice car. I'm gonna move to probably get me a house or some shit. And after that, what the fuck am I spending money on? Like, this shit is crazy. Like, what is she doing? One thing I can say, and one thing I could commend her on, and that's Henyard, is that she keeps that energy up. She never changed. She didn't come in there as if she wanted to do something different or to be workable. Like, she didn't come in there and act like she wanted to be a part of the team. She went in there like a tyrant day one. Fucking crazy.
And that bill did pass in both houses, and right now all it needs is the signature of the governor. And here's what we still don't know tonight: the total amount of the spending plan that was approved. We're still trying to find that number. I'm live in South Holland tonight. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you.
Regina, thank you. Yeah, no, that shit is crazy, though.
And you can't turn your head in Dalton or Thornton Township without seeing Henyard's picture or name. It's on all the government-owned vehicles, buildings, even on the rugs in the township, where we found a Tiffany Henyard 2024 calendar featuring all the important dates to remember, including her birthday.
I would be having a fit if she was my client, telling her not to do this.
Veteran Chicago political consultant Delmarie Cobb says there would be nothing wrong if Henyard were using her own political funds for those promotional materials, especially the billboards.
I actually had a candidate years ago who was running for mayor of Dalton, and that's what we did. We bought billboards along the expressway, because if you're coming and going home all day, and one of the things I always say about billboards is they're working when you're asleep.
In 2011, 2011, state lawmakers passed a law banning the practice of politicians putting their names on publicly funded signs, spurred by these tollway signs featuring former Governor Rod Blagojevich. That law does not extend to mayors or other elected officials, but election attorney Odelson believes the billboards do violate state election laws.
It's a crime. Yeah, you're using public funds for something that taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used for.
And just when you think you've seen it all, take a look at this. When the first billboard went up last summer, Thornton was misspelled as Thornton. Another sign had to be ordered, apparently at taxpayer expense. In videos posted by Henyard herself, we see her being driven around and surrounded by Dalton officers, which got us to wondering, why all the cops?
We weren't opposed to her having the security detail. We asked how long and how often.
Dalton trustee Brittany Norwood says Henyard began assembling her detail shortly after being elected in 2021, using hand-picked Dalton police officers. Using a Freedom of Information request, we obtained...
Man, look at this damn clown show. Look at this damn...
We asked how long and how often.
Dalton trustee Brittany Norwood says Henyard began assembling her detail
These
shortly...
are all officer. I think he's like a public housing works guy. Police officer, police officer, police officer. This shit is stupid, bro. Heidi, thank you for the $1.99. Shout her out, man. Appreciate you. Is she married? No, she was fucking somebody who was married, though. It's a whole different story.
After being elected in 20...
Another police. What is going on? Man, she didn't have no attention as a child. Zero.
2021, using hand-picked Dalton police officers. Using a Freedom of Information request, we obtained the work records for 6 of the officers assigned to Henyard's security detail at various times and showed them to some of Dalton's trustees.
This is a Freedom of Information request we did to see how much overtime these officers are making on her security detail.
Oh, wow. 162 hours.
162. Oh, that's nothing. What goes through your mind when you see these numbers?
It's disappointing. It's frustrating.
The officers are paid every 2 weeks, which without overtime is 80 hours. But when they're put on Henyard's detail, that 80 hours balloons to well over 100 hours, sometimes 200 hours. Wow. And in the case of Officer Terry Young last May, 303 hours worked over a 2-week period.
Wow.
That resulted in a single paycheck of more than $13,000.
Wow. Man, sign me up. Where shit. Fuck all this YouTube shit. I'm gonna go work for Henyard. In 2 weeks? Damn, brother. Shit. Go buy yourself a car. Enjoy yourself.
No. How does a person put in a 2-week pay period, 303 hours? That's impossible. That's impossible.
That's one person.
Does he never go to sleep?
That's one person. That's one person. Wait, okay, all right. 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. I mean, it's possible, I guess. Damn.
In fact, there are 336 hours total in 2 weeks, meaning Young was not being paid for only 33 hours over that period. Other officers on the security detail are also racking up overtime paychecks in the multiple thousands of dollars.
Mayor, mind if I ask you a couple questions about your security
No, it wouldn't make
detail?
sense because he wouldn't be able to go home and go to sleep. No, yeah, no. So that doesn't even make sense. So they're lying about something. He would have to sleep. And he would have to eat. He would have to work out. He would have to. So it's impossible.
Not. I'm asking her.
Yeah, she said no.
A couple weeks ago, we tried to question Henyard about her detail as she went door to door in Dalton giving out water on a 100-degree day, surrounded by police, firefighters, public works employees, and 2 videographers documenting for Dalton's Facebook page.
I want to tell the people I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I hope they post what we actually do here in the village of Dalton and stop telling lies.
But when we gave her an opportunity to explain the OT...
Mayor, why do you need so many
Why don't you ask about water?
officers, details, or your security?
What did you say, water? It sounded like you said water.
Earlier that day, we watched as a Dalton cop drove Henyard from her other job at Thornton Township to a Mexican restaurant for lunch. Trustees say the security detail picks the mayor up at her home in the morning and is with her until she's dropped off at night, often taking her on errands and shopping. Does she need a security detail?
Absolutely not. Why?
Who's coming for her?
Why would you need a security detail?
Oh, she loves it. She just loves it. She loves the detail. I think it makes her feel as if she's like a superstar.
Dalton trustees have filed a lawsuit against Henyard, saying she's not justified the need for security and is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on it without the board's approval.
I see no justification whatsoever, and more than that, it's really a detriment to the residents of Dalton.
How so?
The residents, if we would take the same money and put it on officers patrolling the streets, then the residents will see a much better presence and public safety would be better.
We've had a few shootings, so we need the extra police patrolling our streets instead of patrolling her.
And we found Dalton credit card statements showing that Henyard takes the detail with her even when she travels out of town, spending thousands of dollars on plane tickets, even when she travels out.
Lacey, Moore, Lacey. See who's on these payments, right?
Of town, spending thousands of dollars on plane tickets, lodging, and meals for the officers.
Mayor, why are you taking all the officers out of town with you? Isn't that a waste of taxpayers' money?
Let's go to this one right here, 30
Anything you want to say to defend yourself on this?
As for the village's finances, trustees say Dalton is now getting sued by some vendors for failure to pay its bills.
In the last 2 fiscal years, we're $5 million in the hole, and a big part of it is the security detail.
It's embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. You don't see the governor with a detail as hers.
Several months after we broke the story about Henyard's expensive security detail, we got confirmation that it was impacting the ability to fight crime in Dalton. And that came in an exclusive Fox 32 interview with somebody who would know, Dalton's now former police chief.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
Former Dalton Police Chief Robert Collins spoke to us from Florida, where he's taken a new job after being fired by Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard late last year. But Collins,
she was on a little firing spree too. She wasn't playing.
Says he remains frustrated by what he experienced leading an undermanned, overworked police department, while Mayor Henyard demanded a large personal security detail.
You know, wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions. But at some point, there would be 2 officers or 3 officers. And depending on if there was some type of event, it would be more officers.
That's for a town of a little more than 20,000 people that's struggling economically and usually only has a few officers on duty per shift. Collins says Henyard's security detail was warranted when it started in 2021 after a police-involved shooting sparked protests and threats.
And at some point, the protests stopped. However, the detail continued. Why do you need a security detail while you're out of town? Who's on the other end of that flight that's going to do harm?
Collins says he became increasingly frustrated because the mayor's detail tied his hands when it came to fighting crime.
Just last week, a mass shooting on Sibley Boulevard left 4 people injured. Collins believes the bad guys know there aren't enough cops on Dalton streets.
But Village of Dalton has its challenges with gangs, guns, and drugs. And if those officers aren't there, the visibility isn't there. And if the visibility isn't there, then
she's complaining whole time handing out water. Nah, that every time she does something, do you think she really gives a fuck? Man, she's just passing that water out for her social media.
Criminals have free reign. And it more or less was, these are the orders. This is what you have to do.
Last week, Collins filed a civil lawsuit against the Village of Dalton for wrongful termination, saying he was fired by the mayor without cause and without board approval because his wife is friends with some of the mayor's perceived political enemies.
And our contention is that it is illegal.
Did he do anything wrong?
No. Chief Collins, any position that he's ever been in is a policeman's policeman. He held the rank of chief but he's a patrolman at heart.
But it is frustrating to see the officers used like that. I'm sure the officers are frustrated too, but they are following orders.
As the attention on Henyard heated up, Dalton Village Hall and Thornton Township headquarters became the stage for an evolving soap opera. Village trustees started going rogue. Employees got locked out of their offices, and it became harder for the public and press to attend meetings, including one to vote on the mayor's salary that we learned included a poison pill provision that made any potential challenger think twice about running against Henyard.